Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. CPI data coming in, shoving off the market, getting a little bit of a dump here at 26,690. Can we shave it off, or do we continue to the downside? All right. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. God bless everybody. Appreciate you all. We have the lemon water in the house without the lemon, though. But God bless us all. Please, my love. Tokenized Collateral Network, BlackRock. We talked about that yesterday. That was yesterday's news. But yes, we appreciate that. But we went over it yesterday. This channel gives you the news before everybody else. I'm telling you right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right in. Bam, bam, bam. Shout out to everybody on the live. I just have the biggest smile on my face because my wife brought me water, and then I was like, could I get a lemon wedge? And the intro was playing. I couldn't hear anything. The intro's so loud, right? And I just get this feeling, and I look to the left, and my little 2.5-year-old daughter has the lemon wedge in her hand, and she said, and I grab it, and she runs away. God bless everybody here on the live. Let's get it in. Let's decalcify the pineal gland. The first thing we can do is hydrate ourselves. I worked out this morning. The best thing we can do for ourselves is take care of our minds, our bodies, and our souls, and then we can go from there. Everything else will follow. I'm telling you right now, everything else will follow. Gratitude is the attitude of my life, and I just stay in a state of gratitude. Wake up this morning, super grateful. First thing I said, thank you, dear Lord, for my use of my legs as I walk to the bathroom. I'm like out of it. I don't even know what I'm saying when I say it, but it starts the day. It starts that progression of gratitude. I started using that, I think, about 2.5 years ago, and I say it here on the stream, and we just keep it going. So let's stay hydrated. Stay in gratitude. I'm super grateful that each and every one of you are here. And let's get it going. Let's take a big sip of the lemon water, and let's keep going. I do have a dentist appointment today. I have the dentist, 12:32. Right after the stream, run right to the dentist. Do you clean your teeth before you go to the dentist? I do. I don't know why. It's horrible. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Volume is a little low. I don't know about that, but we'll boost it up for you there. Yeah, maybe a little low. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2 in the house. I start my day reading my Bible. Then I say prayers with God. We are lost. Seize the day. I love that you said that. God bless you for doing that. Shout out to everybody here on the live. 26,700. Let's take a look at Bitty Bitcoin. So remember, yesterday we called this reversal off the 786 Fibonacci retracement on the 4-hour time frame. All right. We got into the trade. The trade is still in the money at the 25,563 entry. I got out. You know what I mean? I figured when we got near the 800s, it was time to get out. Okay. And now I'm just kind of waiting. I nibbled into a small entry right now that I may pull off or pull on depending on what I see here. Very small. And let's talk about it. Let's break it down. The 7-minute had some gains. We got in at about 798. We got a breakout to about 863. We were in the money out of this little wedge here on the 7-minute time frame. I was originally looking at this, right? This has, look, the shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. I'm just showing you how you can make money on small time frames, right? Just tiny. You can just take your piece, and you don't really have to care what the market's doing that day. The market doesn't have to be amazing that day. But look, that's basically shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. It's a complex inverted. And all you had to do was take the neckline to the head and try to get this little move. We got that move this morning. Then look, it turned into an M pattern. If you know how to read an M, it made an M pattern. I was working out in the shower. God bless Juice called the dump. See, I'm not always on in the trading group. My man Juice was like, I see a dump coming. He called a beautiful dump for the trading group. Man, there's so many beautiful traders in my group that press on and do the right thing. And look, I kept talking about the 7. 7, things would have been great. We need to stay above the 200 SMA. We need to break back above 27,900 to remain bullish, period. So my update today was pretty cut and dry, right? I said, could we maybe get this crazy inverted head and shoulder to the upside? It's a possibility. It's a little messy, but it's a possibility. Let's get rid of that other right shoulder that played out. But so that little tiny move in the 7-minute got us a little bit of a move. That was it. Really nothing else to kind of write home about. The measured move, if this could continue and we could keep this higher low, is somewhere at about 27,400 because that's where we probably will meet the 200 SMA, all right? So that trade's kind of like, it's still open if you want to keep in it. For me, I'd either I'd double down or we'll see what happens. A lot of people just get stopped out too as well, so let's get rid of all this nonsense. There still is a chance that makes some type of right shoulder here. I've seen this. I just seen this in my lifetime. I've seen it play out, so I had to point it out, right? Like if you look at it, I've seen that shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we've gotten a move to the upside. If you've been watching me recently, I have this kind of interesting notion in which I look at the charts, right? The first thing I'm looking at is this uptrend here. Okay. If we can stay inside this uptrend, we got ourselves a bit of a move to the upside, right? So we're looking to see if this can kind of continue. The 4-hour is begging for a move, but look at the 1 hour. 1 hour about to dump us to the downside, looking horrible on the stochastics RSI, crossing the medium line on the RSI, and even the MACD showing that it has a lack of, bearish momentum, deciding to curve over. That tells me that this 1 hour may begin to dump us to the downside. You look at this more like a bear flag that's breaking down. You take away this pole. It gives us a measured move all the way back down to 26,200. So that's why, if we can't stay inside that channel and continue up, we're continuing to dump here. Let's take a look at this level and this level. So here's my line in the sand. If you can't get back above 26,000, I even call it 930 because I don't know if you remember, way back here, we battled 26,930, 26,930. I just remember it specifically in my mind as an area we kept going back above, bang it against, bang it against, bang it against. So, and look, this is a rounded top. Rounded tops do not pay the bills. I do not like seeing rounded tops. They're just not a good look. Bit of a shoulder, a head and a right shoulder here. Like I almost see, hold on, let me see if I can see something better here on the 15. Yeah, so this morning, even when I woke up, I saw this as a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. That was a beautiful short to the downside. That was at like 5 in the morning, though. I was not awake for that. Right when I woke up, we were somewhere down here. But that's something that I like to play short term. You know what I mean? What I like about short term trades is you don't really have to care about like you don't have to care what the market's doing to trade this head and shoulder to the downside. You know what I mean? So, again, mixed signals for Bitcoin, right? Has been a lot harder to trade in the last couple of days. They either have a big move planned and they don't want us to know about, and they're messing with liquidity, right? Also, when I'm telling you right now, when Monday is a banking holiday, the week just gets really weird. I've seen it many times. And then we also have CPI, right? Let's talk about the CPI data that came in today. Transmission of material release is embarked. That was 8:30 a.m. this morning. I posted it to the trading group. They got it. The consumer price index for all urban consumers rose 0.4% in September on a seasonally adjusted basis after increasing 0.6% in August. So it's funny. The U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported today over 12 months that all items increased 3.7%. Wow. So everything in our life is up 3%. Everything that we buy. They're going to continue to print money, everybody. We're in a debt-based society, a debt-based economy. The dollar represents debt. Once you realize that, you will leave the dollar. Once you realize that holding a U.S. dollar gives you debt, you will leave the dollar. Okay? This is the innate reason why I teach every single day here and why I push, right? Fiat currency graveyard. I always go over this. And you can Google this stuff and the fiat currency graveyard. And what it talks about is over 90% of its purchasing power, the U.S. dollar has lost. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that's held its value over a long time. Okay? Paying $1 billion a day in interest payments to service its debt. $1 billion a day. That's your tax dollars, man. Look at it. It's over the Empire State Building in debt. 34% of that debt 6.1 trillion is owned by foreign governments. We owe basically the world. Eventually, we're going to owe the world so much money. What do we do then? Since September 30th of 2014, the Treasury has accumulated 17.8 trillion worth of debt. That's 103% of the total U.S. GDP in 2014. Countries such as Russia, China, Iran, and India desire to break free from the dollar standard. They don't rely on the U.S. and their national security and would benefit from the U.S. economy being weaker. China and Russia signed a historic $400 billion gas deal. With the China deal conducted outside the dollar system, we see the beginning of the de-dollarization and the de-Americanization of the world. Former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, Russian President Vladimir Putin drafted a bill that aims to eliminate the U.S. dollar and the euro from trade between CIS countries. This means the creation of a single financial market between Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and other countries of the former Soviet Union. The hostile attitude towards opposing countries is also a factor. U.S. bullying Russia and vexing China may hasten the dollar's demise. Whatever, that's kind of a little, I'm American, so that's a little biased for me, but the U.S. Online Basic and Cumulative Inflation Calculator from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm telling you right now, the dollar, $2.9. Dude, 1.9 gasoline for 1 gallon of gas, 50 cents, 1.45 for a loaf of bread, and that's even worse. That's from 1980 to 2015. It's way worse now. So anyway, this just kind of breaks down what happens when you continue to print money over and over and over again. U.S. money supply 1959 to 2018. Money printing is wealth theft. If you keep printing the money, what I made last year is less. What I made the year before is less. This continues to go down. Okay? Problems. All right? I mean, I see a bit of a head and shoulder here for Bitcoin. Shoulder, like it's bearish. It's a rounded top. If anything, possibly an inverted cup and handle that could be its demise as well, right? But yeah, rounded tops are just never a good look. You do not want a rounded top, all right? Never. That's about to break to the downside. Look at that. That's a head and shoulder again with the wickage. Looks like our target could be 26,450 for Bitcoin, all right? And again, remember, previous resistance becomes support. Previous support becomes resistance. You bounced. You can't get above this area. All right. It's a really good place to take some profit because we couldn't get above it. 1, 2, head and shoulder pattern. Told you, hey, I'm struggling here. All right. Let's take a look at BOOKMAP. What does BOOKMAP say? BOOKMAP showing a key level up here at 27,000, saying, hey, eventually I want to eat the bigger order at 1,000 Bitcoins at 27.2. I just want to dig through the stop losses first and scare people, right? Can you go over EGLD? Thank you, Lifer. I will. Thank you so much for the super chat. God bless you. So 26,670, but again, we have liquidity closer to at the end of the day. Right there's a bar at 26.5. Could drag us in, and then we could get pulled back all the way to the lower value area there at about, 26,190 for Bitcoin. Okay. Bear City for BTC. And again, support or resistance. You can't get back above the previous resistance. Expect more downside. I said to my whole crew today, if you don't see a daily candle above 26,930, we're just likely going further down. And this brings me to always change the chart up and do it differently with each and every one of you. Let's take a look here. What I had going on for KuCoin. We have key levels. If we lose 25.12, 21,600 isn't that far. And these are weekly levels that I have mapped out. So if I get rid of this fib here in the smaller time frame idea. And I have something else to show you. And also, I do want to talk about the title of today's video. All right? We're going to break it down. It's not clickbait. There's something I really, really need to discuss. Bitcoin has one huge problem, and I'm going to show you what it is. Stay tuned in a little while. I'm going to talk about the biggest problem Bitcoin has. And, we're going to break it down for you guys very solidarily. We got some charts and some background data, too, with GLASSNODE. Shout out to GLASSNODE. We're going to bring you some cool information with GLASSNODE, talking about proof of reserves, recent supply, and total gas used. It's going to be exciting. Also, the Lightning Network in 2 years. is up huge. Estimated growth of the routed Lightning transactions has just, it went from 500,000, right? 500,000 in August of 2021 all the way to basically 6 million in 2 years. I mean, that's a giant increase in transactions on the Lightning network. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Is this just a liquidity grab for a move to the upside? Do we see some divergence that could save us? We will break you down, and we're going to give you all the information that you need every single day here on the channel. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I like to go to BTC, USDT. I can take MEXC, Spot, whatever we want, and take a look at the chats, shall we? And the weekly, it could not get above the previous weekly resistance. Once we knew that, you short resistance, you long support, right? So weekly had an issue there at this candle, and then we couldn't get above the 200 SMA. I've talked about this over and over again. If you can't get above the 200 SMA, you have to expect more downside. It's sad, but that's just the facts. These are the facts of life. I'm a 200 SMA guy. If I'm above it, I'm bullish. If I'm below it, I'm bearish, right? As we came up to it, great signs of a move, but we had to stay above it to remain bullish. Like, we couldn't play games, all right? Look, and this is starting to make a descending triangle. Descending triangles are not a good look. They break to the downside 68% of the time. I have just seen this. I haven't seen this yet. This would mean a nasty move for Bitcoin, right back down to test these key levels here on the weekly at 20,080. Imagine being able to get Bitcoin out these low levels one more time and, and reward the people that stayed heavy into cash, all right? Now, I feel some fear, so I continuously buy more Bitcoin, but it's $500 to $1,000 every couple of days here and there. I won't up the ante to like $5,000 if we get into some key areas here, or if we bust through a 30K area and then we get back down to 25, like, you know what I mean? We'd have to throw up through some big area to come back down, right? Fear and greed is starting to get higher, though. We'd love this to get back into the shaded area. Let's get this fear coming. Let's get Bitcoin to drop more. We'll be able to accumulate at lower prices and be able to get ourselves into a pretty good spot for BTC, all right? So breaking down with brass tacks, another thing I want you to pay attention to. See how you could not get above the medium line here on the RSI. You got above it, but you lost. Once you started to lose this yellow line, signs of an issue for BTC. So I see this as a descending triangle. I haven't seen anyone draw this yet. This is the first time I'm drawing this. I haven't seen it. And this is like kind of a bigger idea. And, there's also the feels of a shoulder, a head, and kind of a right shoulder too. These are two bearish patterns inside of each other. You also have a bearish divergence here. If I was trading altcoin, I wouldn't be like, oh, that looks amazing, And this is my first time really breaking this down, and we're below the 200 SMA. Likely to come at least to the test of 50. If anything, you're likely to test the 50 simple moving average on that weekly, 24,340. We could be getting a pretty big pullback here for BTC. Okay, I want to get everyone ready for this. I want you to understand, I'm not a perma bull. I'm not a perma bear. I just look at the charts, and the charts are telling me that Bitcoin has a bit of a problem here. Okay, so Bitcoin has one huge problem. This could be a descending triangle. It has another big problem that I'm going to discuss later on too. But Bitcoin has a pretty big problem. Okay, it really does. Anyway, descending triangle for Bitcoin, falling to the downside, getting rejected by these key levels. Do we get a move? Hey man, why it's got to be a black swan? It may not be a black swan. It just gets you kind of, that just gets your adrenaline going, right? It did work, didn't it? Just be honest. You know what I mean? And honestly, there could be a black swan. As funny as that is, I'm serious. We could see a black swan, right? You looked at the charts. I do the math, and it's aligned. Oof. Government still has Bitcoin, and they have sell before end of the year. We short to 24K yet. Eclipse this Saturday. Any correlations from the past? I mean, eclipses, they always have something to do. I'd pay attention. I don't know, though. I'd have to back check that and do some due diligence. You could do that for us if you want to be like our celestial body representative. All right. So I see some pain here for Bitcoin, right? Once we couldn't get above this key, if we got above that, we were going to flip the 200 SMA. And it was going to be smooth sailing. Things were going to change. And I told you, if we got above the 200, I'm bullish. If we can't get above it, I have to remain bearish. Like, I can't. That's what I love about my TA. It is what it is. It tells you exactly what it is. And then you can backtest my TA. You can go find the 200 SMA on every time frame you want and find out whenever you go below it, it's not a good look. It's just not. The smaller the time frames, the more trivial because it's not a big deal. It only happens on smaller time frames. You know what I mean? It's not like the big, so why can't swan be blue? It could be a blue swan. It could be a white swan. Sammy, cup and handy, much love, Holmes. Shout out to Super Viral. God bless you. Shout out to Juice World. 20K looking tasty. It's why I'm getting out of the Middle East. It would make sense. The U.S. government will wait till Bitcoin has a low before they sell, like the UK government did when they sold all their gold at the lows in 2000s. All coins seem to do better than Bitcoin at this moment. Well, the U.S. government isn't here to make money. They're here to put Bitcoin down. So if they sold when Bitcoin was popping up, they would sell into strength. They don't want to do that. They want to sell into weakness. They want to sell into it while it's going down. They want to add insult to injury. We already know that, right? They're not trying to make a gain. We already can see that they're not into business, right? The U.S. government loves to be into debt. If they were a business, they would be a horrible business. They'd be in $30 trillion in debt. They wouldn't even be able to have, their balance sheet would be out of control. Isn't that crazy? Like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm a profitable businessman. Our balance sheet is not negative at my business, right? I'm able to, everyone that helps out, anyone that, contracts, everyone that we, freelancers or whatever we do here, it is, completely, like we make a profit here at this channel. It's insane to think that the government gets to not make a profit and they get to borrow our money before we even give it to them. You realize that, right? When they borrow money, they're borrowing your money. No one sees that. No one thinks about that. They're borrowing your actual money. What do you mean? Well, your kids, my kids are in debt. The American citizens have to pay the debt off. How do they pay the debt off? Through taxation. So they basically are making promises, okay, to your kids, to your future generations, and telling them, hey, you're going to pay the VIG for your mom and dad when they're dead. Or for us, and just not a good look. Onyx Swan, maybe tomorrow on Friday the 13th. Onyx Swan. Hey, Friday the 13th too. Nasty day coming up. So just gear up, get ready, prepare. Let's get our shorts in order. Let's get ready to look at price action. And, anything could happen. So let's be careful for a major move that could happen to the downside. Do you have stop losses? Are you ready to sit in cash? Are there better prices? Are you keeping yourself in cash so you can DCA into the proper projects you're in? If you went too heavy into something right now, do you have enough cash to balance yourself out? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I'm saying you should be taking as financial advice. These are just questions that I'm asking myself that you should ask yourself. Okay? Take your 2 to 3% daily and get out. Amen. Solar eclipse. I smell liquidations. Oh, yeah, we're going down. Bitcoin getting further to the downside here, 26,630. That head and shoulder is playing out on the smaller time frame. Did I get rid of it? No, it was on the KuCoin chart, right? But you can see it here. It was a small head and shoulder. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Broke the neckline to the downside, right? You're actually breaking this trend too, And I'm saying if you can't break back above 27.9, this is what I said basically on my update today to my trading group. I said if we can't break 26,900, this is making a bear flag, and this bear flag target takes us to 26,060. Okay, seems to start. If we take out this low, it's weird we would take out this low with the Fibonacci retracement, but it could happen. Anything is possible in trading, and again, the rounded top is just not a good look. I was on the KuCoin chart, right? We were drawing this. I must have deleted it after the fact, right? But we were drawing this head and shoulder pattern that just didn't look good. It's a mess. Anyway, we'll clean this all up on this MEXC chart. So that's a descending triangle for Bitcoin. They break to the downside like 90% of the time. All right, it would behoove us basically. Boom. Stop loss out here. This is a possible trade here, long-term trade. It's a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. The trade will be valid as long as price stays below the 200 SMA, and you're likely to get stuck somewhere here. Now, it could get tight and we could go sideways. I'm open-minded, and that's why I always do these ideas. Like, there's a chance we make this ascending triangle. I have one hopeful idea to show you that's not as bearish, so stay tuned for that as well, all right? And do we bounce? But we would have to get a bounce. Like, we can't, in the second we lose 25,650, that's a wrap. Then you look for the bearish retest of that area, and then we are gone. You know, we'll have a little bit of holdage right here at 24.3, and then it's a wrap too. So this is the weekly, though, the bigger time frame. Okay, and you see it's, you know, just not looking amazing. We got a bounce roll back to 26,700. They did nice liquidations just now for Bitcoin. All right, we'll see how that ends up later on today. I was like, what is that? Forget about it. I was like, that's funny. Anyway, let's go back into the 3-day chart for Bitcoin. 3-day chart, look, getting bearish. We talked about the RSI yesterday. Stochastic curving, RSI curving, MACD not looking good, and we couldn't get above this previous resistance. It was weekly, really, but even if you move this up right there, 28,500, right? So, and then we had a support zone that we're like, well, can we hold? And we put the line right there, and we had support at 27.7. If you remember, 27.70, remember 27.77, like all the sevens. We can even call it 27.760, 750, and we lost that. Once we lost that, questionable. If we lose this 200, that's going to make this bigger idea want to play out. I haven't seen this until right now. You know what I mean? The weekly descending triangle. First time I saw this. Say, hey, handsome, what happened to your leg? You been to Afghanistan or something? You're funny. Smart people are buying in the lows. I shall buy in 26, then 25, then 24, and 23. Exactly. Well, the other day, like I said, remember, and I'm going to show you kind of what the plan is here, and I'm going to give you my plan. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm going to give you my plan. I would be nice enough to show you what I'm thinking of doing with my funzos. All right. And show you just kind of how I strategize it for my spot buying. So again, you know, something I didn't really see before and didn't take seriously, but a bit of a descending triangle here for Bitcoin. And, you know, as long as you see it, and remember, this was the rising wedge that I kept saying could break to the downside 68% of the time. We've now breached. This should break down to the downside. That's just what it's supposed to do. We should continue all the way down to this line here. Then we will see, right? Previous support becomes resistance. We know we're going to have an issue at 25, 24.9. We could bounce. Anything can happen. But at that point, we're also making lower highs. Look, high, low, lower high. You would expect a lower low for Bitcoin. All right? So starting to see some things that just don't look too sweet for BTC. If we get a bounce, do we barely retest this line and get a drop to the downside? Because you are getting oversold on the daily, but it doesn't mean, you know. And I got one last, you know, kind of hopeful thing to show you that could give us a bounce, right? But only time will tell. Bitcoin struggling back off after it got hit right there at 26,660. It could not hold 27, you know. And we're going to get into the small time frames, look for a trade, and begin to scalp. I just have to look at the bigger time frames for any of the new people watching and anyone kind of scoping us out. So, you know, like you're getting down to like a miracle here if it's making a ascending triangle, but it could be. But to me, because we're below the 200 SMA on the weekly, all right, look, on the 22, we're below the 200 SMA. On the daily, we got rejected by it. That was a key area to short. Get rejected by the 200 SMA, key area to short. Stop loss on the other side. That's remember this thing I keep telling you guys? Traded on the 4 hour. The second you get below a 200 SMA, you can open up a short with a stop loss on the other side, you know. That one was a little sketchy, but that one would have played out. Even if we popped out, got back below. And then I look at this whenever it happened. I mean, it can create a massive downtrend. Like right there, it's a massive. We got rejected there. That was a beautiful short. We got rejected there. That was a beautiful short. We fell through here. We came down, got rejected, came down again. When you lose the 200 on the daily, it's not a good look. It's not a good look, especially when we have the weekly kind of not in our favor. So these are things that we have to take into account, right? And in my opinion, we breached the trend line. We tried to bearishly retest in a way, and we're already kind of on our way back down. If we lose this 50 simple moving average on the daily, it's just so likely we're going to fall back down here, you know, test all of these levels. The Fibonacci held, but how long, you know, at that 786 from this impulse here. We could take it from here, and we could see that we have a 786 all the way back here. at 25.7, which could also give us a bounce. So that's another area that I'm looking at. Key areas, we have golden pocket at 26.3, a 786 at 25.705. I would write that down. I would keep that in your back pocket and think about it for a possible bounce, right? Even if we just get a bounce back up here like we got yesterday. We played that bounce beautifully yesterday. You know, you just got to take your profits after a 786 bounce. There's no guarantees you're not going to go back down. Everything in trading is take your profits, and go from there, okay? She said, I guess this is where I don't ask you for your name and number. DXY is testing the rising channel now. He got that Riz. CJ Baker got that Riz. You know what I mean? So key area to watch is this 786 Fibonacci at 25,691. That's going to be a key area to look for, right? And look, this is a weekly trade that I'm putting out for you. Write this down. The entry would be around now. The stop loss would be at 28,750, 740. We could be even 28,568. And the target would be 20,900. All right. That would be a weekly trade. It could take basically 2 to 5 weeks. You never know exactly how long that could take. That could be a big payday. 21% for Bitcoin could be a massive payday. So just something to keep on your mind for BTC. All right. Again, we're going to watch it closely and watch, bearish retest. Like, we're going to take this day by day by day. But this is just some bigger idea that I'm starting to see here that I did not see before until this morning when I'm with each and every one of you. And that's why I love this channel, because I never know what will be revealed to each and every one of us as we do this together, right? I never know what I'm going to see. Shout out to the 666 people on the live, 232 likes, $3.98 in chat revenue. May God bless each and every one of you for being here. It's all good. Got requests. Send a super chat, guys. Be grateful to the lifer. Shout out to Graphics. God bless you, man. No worries, man. DXY will dump with Bitcoin. Yep. They can bump together. They definitely can dump together. Watch my video on the DXY where you can understand more about the correlations between the DXY and levels that matter. All right. And levels that matter. Okay. Take a picture of this. Keep this somewhere. Let me snatch it. And just I don't like when I give you guys the most bearish news in the world. I've done it many times, though, and people get pissed. A lot of people don't, though. My channel's made of people that like the truth, so we don't get the backlash all these other channels seem to get. You guys like the truth. You know what I mean? The algorithm's like, dude, I want to send people to this guy that like the truth. So we don't tend to have that nonsense out here. Keeping this for my records, weekly descending triangle. I posted on the daily, but it's the weekly descending. And look, we have a shoulder head and a right shoulder forming. Like, we got some bears. It's bearish. You have a high, you have a lower high. Expect a lower low in the trend. Okay. Missing some OG lifers today. Blessings to them that everyone is okay. Are you talking to yourself, CJ? Very funny. We can handle the truth. Yeah. There's money to be made. Yeah. Whether it goes up or down. Shout out to Love Lording in the house. Shout out to Stack by Change. Any news is good news for us scalpers. Amen. We just need the market to move. Where is Big Time getting all this movement and liquidity from, y'all? Any thoughts? It's just new and exciting, man. A new and exciting thing gets jumped on. You know what I mean? And Mexi, again, has the coins that nobody else has. They got Big Time banging to the upside. I saw someone make 1,500% gains. And again, I don't push leverage trading. If you want to leverage trade, you can. I'm a heavy spot trader. I leverage trade on and off here and there. It's not my biggest bag, right? If you want to learn leverage trading, we do have an awesome leverage trading course. I do teach you how to use leverage the proper way. How it's the same as a spot trade. How you use a stop loss, a protective stop, right? How you make sure that you basically use proper risk management. Some people think just because it's leverage, it's different than spot. You know, in my mind, I mean, it is because it moves fast and there's more emotions involved. But at the end of the day, like when it comes down to leverage, like you can do the same type of key risk management that you can do when trading spot. The key is to learn risk management. Like once you learn risk management trading spot, you can then bring that into trading leverage. That's the whole key. I think that's the issue with most people, just don't have any risk management. You know what I mean? Can you look to OXO? We've looked at it many times. We like that, we like that coin. We'll talk about it. Cody Macwin. We brought it up here on the channel many, many times. One of my head of operations liked it, and he gave it to me, I think, 3 months ago or something like that. Yeah, but we've talked about this coin a bunch of times. We'll look it up for you yet again, though. Cody Macwin, OXO. Shout out to Jeffrey Bridges in the house. Thank you for jumping on in. Shout out to Love Learning, Toby McDonald Woods, Seize the Day, Crypto Plumber, Crypto Bellico, Ramo Trades, Timmy313, Juice World, Caden, and all the beautiful lifers. Thank you so much for jumping on in and being here and sharing your most precious asset, which is your time. Bitcoin stalling out at 26,674. Seemingly can't get enough liquidations to keep the liquidation train going. Look, 103,58,000. That usually is a divergence, cumulative volume delta at 2,000, getting pretty high on the negative side. The idea is 103.58, right? And you can get CVD divergences. You can almost see a CVD divergences just by looking at the chart, the data. 103,000. We went lower to 58,000. The price went lower, but we liquidated less people. It usually tells you could get a reversal from that. Same thing when when it's time to basically get out of a long. If you're in a long and you're watching short liquidations, so if you're in a short, it could tell you it may be a good time to get out of the short based on the CVD. All right? Do you understand? And it's not going to be 100%. It's just going to give you levels where you're at extremes. It's going to tell you, hey, you're a little bit further off than you've been in the past. 26,675, 670 seeming to hold for whatever reason for Bitcoin, right? It is, I believe it's that 618. We'll look at it again, but it looks like it is a 618 Fibonacci level after it bounced. But we'll take a look at it in depth for that idea. So this has been posted in my trading group. I have it kind of in. I can always go back to it and search it out. But this is something that we want to be really understanding of, and that could definitely happen. All right? Of course, we'll have to breach this line first. We'll have to lose the 200 SMA on the 3-day chart. Those two things will have to happen first. Okay, so we have a pretty good idea that, but once those happen, it's going to confirm that more pain is coming. So we'll be here for you every single day, and we'll be going over these key areas. And so we'll know when Bitcoin's about to dump or not. We will know. We will know. All right. We will be able to figure that out. That's what the beautiful thing about it is. All right. Let's move into the daily time frame. So we saw this rising wedge. We kept saying, rising wedges break down 68% of the time. I said, it don't, could we stay here and get a bounce? There was a chance that we were going to hold 29,200, 27,250, right? 200. And I said, if we can hold, I said, the second we break 29, too, it's a wrap. I said, it's been such strong support for so many days. It faked us out, gave us the sense of that the bullish rectangle that we could make a flag and get our way out of here. The daily, though, was overbought on the RSI and really needed to reset. I'm such a stochastics RSI guy. Stochastics RSI. It told us that it wanted to bend down. It had a bearish divvy on it. The indicator was saying, hey, I'm beat. I'm beat up. And we got a nasty move to the downside. Perfect short was really at 28,000, right when we lost the weekly resistance to the downside, right? Still in the money on that short. If we lose this 50, this short will continue down. And rising wedges like to break to where they began. This should break down to 25,000. Really should be no reason why we can't get a move all the way back down. But I'm going to show you something that could change the story here. One more thing that could change the story. Just throw you for a loop, but it's out there. It's out there right now. So the first idea is that we held a 786 fib. We're attempting to kind of hold the zone between the 786 and the 706. Could we boom up? If we step up off the 7, could we step up on the 618, which is like 27,000 even, And there's two candles right there, support or resistance, and that they match up with the 618. So whether you're doing support or resistance or fibs, a lot of times they match up pretty eerily well. A guy who knows nothing about fibs and just does support and resistance like super technically and is just like super anal about it, he'll probably hit some of the same levels that someone who hits fibs will. It's so weird. And I've seen it many times, the overlapping of different ideas in trading, okay? So in my mind, we lost that trend line. Like, no jokes about it. Like, we can't, it's not a joke. We lost this beautiful uptrend, and it's a rising wedge. It's another reason about being so adamant about patterns, right? I was able to see this pattern and talk about it for the last few days. Like every time I went over Bitcoin, I kept showing you this. And I kept telling you that rising wedges break down 68% of the time. Again, I said we don't know what's going to happen. I said we're going to have to break 27.9 first, right? Level by level. So what's our next key daily level that if we lose, we'll probably go lower? Right here at about 26,400, 450, right below that 26.5 level. We break 26.5, which we have chop right there. See that chop? Then we go further to the downside, right? Funny, where's my VERP? I was about to be like, which is my VRVP, you know? So anyway, I'm removing the moving averages just for now. Just for now. So here's this. This is key right here. All right. This is key. What you expect is a bearish retest, a bounce back in, a rejection, and move back down, right? Again, what I was saying is this reversal is strong, but can we get a bullish div on the 4-hour time frame? So I said that today too on my morning update. I said, you know, there's a possible chance of reversal, but like, you know, we don't really have a strong bullish divergence yet, you know? And honestly, it's looking more like we could go low, and like that bullish divergence won't happen till like somewhere around here. You know what I mean? Which is somewhere at like 25, you know, it could even be, you know, 25, 25.7 somewhere. I mean, just, it's showing that there's more pain coming for this RSI, right? So I'm not getting like, you know, usually the 4-hour will give you a lot more of a cleaner div. And so because I'm not getting the clean div, not a good sign, right? Wow, and remember, we saw the Adam and Eve. We saw it late, but it still provided such a beautiful idea, right? Look at that. And that actually still kind of says it could go lower than it is. But Adam and Eve double top. They don't have to align. That's what I've noticed about them. They can be slanted, jagged. They don't have to be perfect. They can be kind of twisted. You know what I mean? We just got a nice divergence. I bet that was the 1 minute. You know, look, we got the 1 minute move that I talked about. I didn't get a chance to show it to you guys. I apologize. But this is the 1 minute strategy, right? We wait for the div. Now it's elongated div, but you wait for the div. Once you get the div, you should pull away from the 21. All right? And then you get in, and you should be able to pump all the way back up to the 200 SMA. No matter what the market's doing, should be able to get this move up, right? What sometimes happens, and then what it does is it forms in a right? Remember the ascending triangle? Like it's just kind of what happens. I don't know why. It's just something. And again, it doesn't happen every single time, but it happens like 90% of the time. You will get a breakout from here. And the key is, can you get to the 200? Chance you get above this high volume node, then look at the gap you got going on, right? And you could get the reversal. This could be the reversal for today. You know what I mean? And then you just have to say, hey, well, if you can't get above 26,781, then that's going to be your wrap, you know? So you see the high inside of the divergence. Okay. And I also look at Stokes. Like, see how that Stokes curving? Like, you know, that plays into it. RSI, not in the best shape. But I'll tell you what. Whenever I've used my emotions and seen like it was going to dump, it hits that 200 SMA somehow. I don't know how. So I've just, on these, this is something I've learned to just let it, like I get in and I just let it hit the 200, you know. You get stopped out way less than you don't on this move, right? So that's kind of something that I've been, you know, trading with. Even though it gave you a bearish div, it says we're going to dump. It's weird, like somehow price will get pumped up. Like the bots are just so strong. So look, it happened here. You got your div, and the div was very strong, okay? Just get good at like identifying this type of div. The issue with this, sometimes you can get preemptive div. Like you can get here and come up, come back down and stop you out. That could happen. Nothing is 100% in trading in my humble. Because even if you have 100% strike rate and you might wake up one day and just be a little off that day, right? So like, even if you have 100% strategy, no human being is 100. Like we're always going to do something funny. We're not robots. You know, if we were robots, then we would be robots. Like, but we're not. Like, our beauty is in our inconsistency. Our beauty is in our imperfection. Like, that's what makes us special, right? Right? That's what makes humans, because otherwise we would be boring cyborgs. You know what I mean? But we're all different. We all make mistakes. Think about all the relationships you've had with your friends. Like, they're great relationships, but you've learned from each other. You know what I mean? And, you know, I don't know. I just find that a beautiful thing about the human race. Just this, one of our qualities, you know. It's a unique quality. And we all know it. Like, we are imperfect. We are not perfect. Right? I don't go much on the ascending triangle. It's just kind of a fun idea. To me, I'm just more... And what it does, look, it makes a kind of inverse head and shoulder. It'll scare the crap out of you. You'll get in, and you'll think you're going to get dumped on. But you got to trust that you're going to make it to the 200. It's just like you got to have the trust. Once you have the trust and it plays out more and more, you start to grow, you know. And you'll see that it hits that 200. There's one right there. There's one right there. Here's a deeper one that eventually did it. There's one. There's a mini one. We got to the 200 right there. There's one right there. We got to the 200. You identify the divergence. You pull away from the 21. You wait till you get to the 200. Now, when you hit the 200 SMA, what I personally like to do is to sell 75% right here, because I've seen it just take a dump. That way, and then the stop loss gets moved, you know. So you enter here, right? Stop. Starts to move, everything going well. When you get here, break even, okay? And then you get the runner for the last 25%. You call it a love move. It's great. And that way, while this is running, you're just like, and then when you take whatever you can out of here, the key is if you can get the 21 to get away from the 200 and you'll get that gap, that's when you know, look, 21 will get for. So you basically play the yin yang of the 21 and the 200 and how it kind of, you know, so you get the divergence, you pull back. You don't always get above the 200 SMA. There's days where you get completely rejected by the 200. There's days you don't get to the 200. It's just rare. It's just very rare. As you can see by my examples, you get to that 200. You get to it. You just, if you don't have faith, you won't get to it. Your emotions will stop you from getting to it, you know? Anyway, that's just like, so this is something that we show on the stream a lot. Like in the last few weeks, I've been like, watch us hit the 200, and we've hit the 200. Like, we've done it a bunch of times. It should be clipped out. And we should have, like, it might even be clipped out. I don't get to watch all the stuff that my team puts out, you know? And you can clearly see how that's like a head and shoulder pattern. I mean, you got shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulders, right? So it makes sense that you should be able to at least get back to this resistance, you know? And again, nothing is guaranteed in trading. This could turn around and dump in my face. There's no guarantees. That's how I look at it. And the reason why I say that is even if you have a guaranteed 100% strike rate and you know what's going to happen, what if the electricity got shut off right now? Like, what if an EMP, you know, I hope to gosh not. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you know, so that's how I say you never know. Because to say you know what's going to happen to this next candle is to say you know what's going to happen to the world right now. Like, you know exactly there's going to be an earthquake. Like, and we just don't. And the markets are affected by the world. If something happens to the world today, it's going to affect the markets, right? So this is just one idea that I love to play. And this is something, too, that we can capture this moment in time and just let it happen, all right? And let it happen. BOOKMAP still has this $27,200 level, too. Hasn't given up on that. Hasn't given up on that idea, okay? Usually, these are they just liquidated the longs here to push the price up, right? So far, look, it's already starting to go green. And what's going to happen is you're going to get above the 80, then the 100, and then make your move up to the 200 SMA. By using these 5 SMAs, I can kind of track it. I don't really need the 80 and the 100, but what they do is because sometimes you can get rejected by them. What you want to see is keep, and what's cool about it is, you can use this theory. This is really cool too. So you have your stop loss, let's say. Once you get above the 21, you can move your stop loss to the 21 now. Once you get above the 50, and you clear like 2 of these, you can move your stop loss to like the 50 possibly, right? And if we get above these 2, and then as you keep going, you kind of use the moving averages as protective areas for the stop, right? show you like in the past, like, you know, and it is easier to show, but like here you get in. Once you get above that 200, you're here. Once you get above the 50, possibly right there, you can give it there. And then, you know, you get to the 200 and you call the trade a day, right? And look, you're above the 82 now. You could use the 80 if you wanted. Right there. So you use the moving averages as protective areas to keep your stop nestled below as price action moves through this. I used to teach a leverage boot camp, and this was leverage boot camp. I used to charge $100 for this. It would take me an hour to teach the person, and I would just show them like I would say I only trade these 1 minute movements. And so I've studied this in the past, didn't realize what I was seeing, re-looked at it again, then saw how we started hitting the 200, and then I kind of relearned this yet again. Like it was like, this took some years of progressional watching the market over and over again, right? And it'll toy with you. Sometimes it'll come right down to here. But you'll still get to now, the issue with these trades are, my only like qualm with them is, like that was a beautiful one. That was done, you know. But my only qualm with them is they can do this. And the 21 can drag. So everyone's like, where will the price be? You never really know. You could get... There's an array of areas, and then eventually the thing is that it also can teach you if you're going to dump, because what will happen is if price just keeps going sideways and the 200 comes to touch, and then you get kind of mushed, you're definitely going to get a drop then, because it's like it's showing you that you didn't, you know, how. And then what will happen? The price will go below the 200. If price goes below the 200 on this 1 minute time frame, you're in for a nasty dump. Look at it right here. When we got below the 200 here, nasty dump on the 1 minute. When we got below the 200 here, at least a good dump. A good dump. It gives you that level, right? So and again, a lot of indecision in the market. All right. You know, whenever you have data like the inflation data, some people are getting it late, some people get it, make a move, you know. It affects the markets. It affects the psyche of the traders, right? And this is boring. I mean, you're on a Thursday at 11 in the morning waiting for Bitcoin to move, you know, and literally in the last 30 minutes since 10, you know, in the last basically 40 minutes, Bitcoin has ranged from 26,670 to 2,700, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But that's why having this key strategy and just being able to trust in it will give you an advantage over the market. You know? I'd love to see this hit the 200 so I can call it a day and everyone can say, he did it again, everybody. He did it again, you know? But we'll go from there. And this is what my life has become, the 1 minute chart. It's crazy. I never thought I'd be on the 1 minute like this in my entire life. Shout out to the 672 beautiful souls in the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Who here likes this idea? Who has seen this before? Who has a similar process with a different moving average or an EMA? Anyone out there? Do something similar so this makes sense to you because you do it? Like Juice taught me the SMA. We're going to look at the SMA. We're going to have fun with that too later on. Could short trading the 200 be a good move? It has been a very good move, in my opinion. But again, I can't tell you what to do with your money. It can be. It can be. You know, like Marcus can be. Sorry, it's so corny. Smash the like for the sharpest T in the game. Shout out to Crypto Bear Baker. It is short from CPI 26845. Took first profits at 2642 on the live. Life Revision TA all day. Shout out to PS5, Future of Gaming, NFA. Bang, bang, bang. And look, now we're getting above the other moving averages, right? You see? We just pierced the 80 and the 100. That's a good... The bots love that. The bots eat that up. The bots like when you get above an SMA. All right? Now here we go. Look. Now we know we're going to have a little issue at this resistance. We know that. Okay? We know that. And we could also begin to forecast a possible cup and handle here now. And this is why they call me Sammy Cup and Handy. Not because it's a dang joke, because this is real. All right? And we start looking for this behavior. All right? When I hit the 200 SMA, who's gonna be like, yeah, he did it. When we hit that yellow line, baby, because it looks like we're on our way, but you never know. That's the sad thing about trading is you never know. But over time, you have to have faith in the moves that you have practiced. You know what I mean? So I guess you have to say you do know. You have to believe that you know. I don't know how. I can't explain it. You have to have intuition, and you have to let the intuition do its thing. You know? Took a long at 29K based on the 4-hour type. 29K? I think you mean 26K. Right? I hope you don't mean 29K. That doesn't make sense, my man. You took a long on 29K based on the 4-hour. Yeah, you must have pressed the button there. Stockholm Syndrome at its finest. Crypto investors waiting for high grades from the suppressors. Yeah. You know, the thing is, if we look at this, 92% chance that we will not get a rate hike. 92% chance. So November 1st, All Saints Day, about 19 days from now, about 20 days from now, we will not be getting a rate hike. That's what it looks like to me. But anything is possible. Shout out to my sponsors, ITrust Capital. Greatly appreciate you guys and the team over at ITrust Capital. Be able to move your IRA or Roth IRA today. You know what I mean? If you already have an IRA or Roth IRA and you believe in BTC and you don't believe in the US dollar, you can move that. You know, they have the people to do it. Call them today. They'll get it done. ITrust Capital. Really one of the best places you can go. ITrust Capital. You know what I mean? And they have XRP. They have so many awesome coins too. Their markets are great. Access to way more. When I first heard about them, I was like, oh, they probably got Bitcoin to eat. They have way more. They have Polkadot, Polygon, Litecoin, XRP, Aave, Quant, Hedera, Uniswap. Heck, they have SHIB. They got Gala, Curve Token, Chiliz. I mean, right? And silver and gold. I just don't see how you can beat that. Buy and sell crypto, gold and silver with your IRA. Invest 24 hours a day, 365 days a year with ITrust Capital. And they do sponsor the channel. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for ITrust Capital. And Bitcoin sitting at 26,719 has been moving ever since I showed you this likely movement to the upside, right? Do we get to the yellow line? All we want to do is get there, sell a partial, and see if we can continue further to the upside. Then we use the VRVP for an idea of continuation. Do we have a gap somewhere that if we can get into this gap, boom. We're on our way to 2840, aren't we? Okay. Shout out to Crypto Bull with the $7.33 for TRB. And I'll take a look at that perpetual if I can on MEXC. Just wondering if the inverse 1-hour chart would be a cup and then handle to the downside. We did already draw an inverse cup and handle. If that's what you're talking about, it's possible. Just wondering if the inverse 1-hour chart would be, yes. We were looking at that because it's like a rounded top and it could be an inverse cup and handle. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that. Yeah. Spot on, man. I believe you're saying what I'm saying. I'm a visual guy, so it's hard for me to like see what you say, but I believe I'm seeing what you're saying. And look, we talked about that CVD and how 103 to 58, a way to use BOOKMAP to your advantage for a bounce, because how could you go lower if you liquidated less people, right? Now, again, these bounces are quick. You got to be handle the small time frame. If you're not into the small time frames, it's okay. Believe you me, I put out trades for people that work so much and have no time, things that they can look at and begin to learn. And that's the 3-day chart, the weekly chart. I have alerts on bigger time frames. All right. I've made a majority of funds not trading small time frames. I just want to make that clear. I just enjoy it all. I enjoy the 1 minute all the way to the monthly. I am fascinated by all the time frames. They fascinate me. I can start looking for flags on really small time frames and get into like the 5. And I'm going to show you something interesting that Juice taught me that I've been playing with. Last night I was 3 for 3, just kind of toying with some small trades, but we'll talk about it in a second. I'll be nice enough to kind of break that down for you guys. Just something that you might want to find out about. It's pretty interesting. All right. And God bless you, Juice. Thank you so much for the love, man. I appreciate it. I spread the love because you never know when your last day on earth will be. And again, I plan to be on here for a while, but you never know. There's no guarantees. Look, now we got ourselves a little bit of a flag, and now like my other TA comes into play. So I add all of it together, like my pattern trading, right? And look, I mean, now that you got the 21 to cross the 50, that's a good sign, preemptive golden. Now it's kind of, things are looking like we could get a move. Now we know we have resistance here. So we knew we were going to have a problem there. We already said we were going to have an issue there. We did. We're consolidating, though, above support. So now we're stuck and we're locked in motion. With the moving averages coming up, right? Now, this is what we don't want. Sideways, 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 sideways. The 200 comes to meet us here. Boom. That usually means you're not going to make it, all right? You want to pump up to the 200 and then be able to get above it if you want to see price really get crazy, all right? When the 200 comes to sandwich into price, it can be troublesome. It can be troublesome, all right? So at this point, stop loss is at break even or below the 50 moving average. You see? Stop loss was here when we started. There. Now it should be below the 50. The 50 is giving you substantial support now. You're above the other moving averages. Once you get substantially above, you use the other ones as your guard. So we're now above the 80 and the 100. We're going to use the 50 as our guard. If we get above this level and we start to see a move and I see the 80 cross the 100, then I'll use the 80 as my guard. You get it? As things start to play out, I'm going to kind of change what I do. And this is like, people think trading is, this is small time frame trading is literally work. Like, it's work. You are working the whole time. Like, and you should be actively engaged in the trade. You know what I mean? Now, swing trading is more setting it and forgetting it, but then checking small time frames to see if there's something to adjust. All right. And this could just violently spike up to hit my 200. And then we could call it a day. Everyone can say he did it. We can move on. But this trade is playing out now in your favor. If you did understand how to use my concept of reversal on the 1 minute, and this is a trade that I show almost every day on the stream over and over and over again. You could trade this on any market in the world, from the Dow Jones to Forex. You just got to identify this format here and then know how to do proper risk management. Okay. Picking up what you're putting down. If you figure this out, I basically gave you sauce for the rest of your life. Like, you could eat off this over and over and over again, but it takes heavy discipline. You have to know when to get in and get out, and you have to use the certain areas of reversals over time. Now you're looking for a long liquidation, a short liquidation. We're getting it now at 26,710. All right, even though we were somewhat higher before. These will tell you now that the trade can now go even more into your favor. And look, now we have this level here for Bitcoin on the chart on BOOKMAP. And this is why BOOKMAP comes into handy now. Now we're like, okay, we saw the CVD. Okay, can we continue this move up now? A lot of effort goes into these trades. All right. Now look, a double top at that resistance. That would tell me to probably, a lot of times I would call it a day there. You know what I mean? Call it a day there. Like, we had so many chances to get above. However, that 200 is strong. And I'm telling you, 90% of the time, it's going to take price there. Only 10% of the time I've seen it not really go. So there is a high probability we're going to this yellow line. I can't explain why. It's something I figured out over time. It's how bots operate. It's maybe an algorithmic move that someone has programmed into charts around the world, because every chart does it. Every chart does it. Just do it for me so I can call it a day, and everyone can see that I'm a weirdo. All right. You're still in profit now, too. Remember, now look, we got above a POC. Huge deal. See the VRVP now? We just breached the red line on the VRVP. Really good sign. We can move now all the way up to the value area highs at 26,781. We're just above it. It could be a fake out, takeout, and we could go right below it too. So it's not, but this is a good sign. If we can hold this above the red line, that is going to be somewhat of a good sign here. I wish the whales weren't watching me right now. What if the actual market makers are watching me right now and they're like, dang it, he's on to us again. That's why it's also not good to give all your strategies away. Too many people use them, then you have to change your own strategy. Try setting up your strategies in TradingView to actually get statistics. That would be cool. My best trade was max leverage XMR long. No take profit or stop loss. Left open for weeks. I mean, you got lucky, man. You got lucky, bro. Like, period. I don't like this double top. That's an M pattern. Technically an M pattern that wants to break you down, I would consider bailing on that trade. All right. Bitcoin, man. See? Now you lose the POC. No. You got to not be greedy trading these, and you have to know how to move your stop loss, and you have to take money as soon as possible. And you can't lie to yourself, right? Say like you're still technically in a flag. Remember, the closer the 200 starts to pull down, the more likelihood you're going to get to an apex here, and you're going to dump. All right? Because when moving averages get close and tight in a downtrend, they tend to dump. That's just what happens. And look, now I see something very interesting. I see a shoulder. I see a head and a possible right shoulder. So now you're making sure you want to see if the daily, if in the next hour and a half you make a right shoulder, don't take out this high, chance you can get a move, right? And then look, this has some kind of Adam and Eve vibe. See that? Anyway. So we gave you a quick little reversal trade. It's struggling though. It's not amazing. And we did get the rejection at 26,737, right? It was a double top on the smaller time frames. Couldn't hold the gains. Bitcoin, man. So when the market's like that and sketchy, that's when I use the smaller time frame, right? Makes sense, right? It just it is what it is. So 1 hour dumping, but showing signs that it may not want to make that higher low. I mean, that lower low. So a lot of analysts too are attempting to make some sense of this price action, right? It's just, at the end of the day, it's kind of what I had going on, right? I'm doing it again. It's just how it's been annoying to me. So I've been wanting to like, okay, I want to see if there's anything I'm missing. So rosin wedge, break it down with the Adam and Eve double top. Pretty simple to me, right? Next big support, 26.1. 25, and then you're dropping if you don't hold this level right here. Bigger Fibonacci 786 is 25.6. Smaller Fibonacci we've bounced from. Local fibs, I call them. 718, rejected by the 0.65. Okay, which was also previous support of resistance at 26,900. So we discussed that this morning. Like, you got to flip the 26,9, 20, 30 area. The smaller time frames will give you a little more of a nudge there. Okay. And then technically, I mean, that's so there's your fallen wedge. Very oversold RSI, MACD, right? Very beat down RSI. And that's why I was buying more Bitcoin yesterday, right? But look at the 2 hour. 2 hour with a rounded top and an overbought stochastic, about to lose the medium line. What it makes me do is say, hey, this was your wedge. And that's the length of your pole. And that makes sense too. Look, boom. So this to me looks like we're going down to 26,200. 26,286. I mean, yeah, your 3 hour looks like it's going to dump. The only thing that I had like somewhat, that gave me a little bit of hope was like this swing up, and this swing down, I put it out on Twitter, asking my buddy, I want to see if he said anything. He didn't say anything yet. Waiting for live Sammy Cup in handy, yeah. So hidden bullish in the 8 hour for Bitcoin. And that's one of those, that's hidden bullish divergence, says we should get a move back to the upside, and then we could consolidate into an ascending and get our way out of here. That's the way we could get out. You know what I mean? To me, that's the way out. But, and then we would get above the 200 SMA on that weekly, like through all that, we would somehow get above all that, right? So look, that double top wasn't, we came down. And remember, as this 200 starts to round, it's also not a good sign, right? So, again, it could be making the right shoulder like we went over here. But, time will tell. That's why right there, when we double topped, time to get out of the trade. We did not get to the 200. We did not, the actual TA played out. Like you had an M pattern there. You can't, boom, boom. You could not get above previous resistance. Okay. A lot of fake outs on small time frames. I'm seeing a lot of, because we're in indecision, more people were trading the smaller time frames. Because more people are trading the smaller time frames, it's making the moves far more vicious on the smaller time frames, which is making it even harder for beginners to trade smaller time frames. So like right now, if you're having a really tough time trading the market, it's because you don't have the skills. You need skills to trade a market like this. You need to have extreme discipline. You need to know exactly what you're going to do, and you need to execute it immediately without any hesitation. The second you hesitate in a market like this, you're going to get taken out. You're going to lose money. If you don't have those skills and you can't handle it, the best thing for you to do right now is to learn and step out of the market, or to demo trade. To say, you know what? I realize I don't have the skills. I'm a demo trade. I'm going to use a demo account at all these different ideas until I feel more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, am I in for no, I'm not in for thousands of dollars right now. I am, we took a partial from yesterday, and we'll see where the market goes. We'll take what the market gives us. So the only thing I see is a hidden bullish divergence right now on the 8 hour time frame. However, the RSI didn't even cross the dotted line yet. We have more pain to go. Look here when we were just below the dotted line where we were on the 8 hour. Right there. This looks eerily similar to this. Look at this. This is something I'm going to show you. A fractal that I just saw. This has that Adam and Eve double top vibe, just kind of like this does. I'm not trying to say they're perfect, but Anyway, I'm seeing some bearishness despite the 8 hour being very oversold on the stochastics RSI. All right. Again, a slight mixed signal there because I'm getting a hidden bullish on the 8 hour. All right. Swing up the swing up. Well, the RSI swinging down tells you should get a move back to the upside, specifically with low stochastics. All right. Specifically with low stochastics. So that's the only, that's our saving grace here. Now, what's Bitcoin's biggest problem? I'll be honest, there's not enough Bitcoin to go around. You know what I mean? I know you guys made me think that's what it was, but I'm serious. I know you don't believe me, but there's really not enough Bitcoin. Well, everyone gets bearish and freaks out. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger idea here. They keep printing the dollar. There's no way out of the mess they're in right now, and everyone wants a piece. Everyone's going to say, "But I just promised all these people in my town, and now we're in this big partisan battle, and if I don't come through with Anther, they're gonna vote a Republican in. So I got to do what I'm supposed to do." And there's this, right? Everyone's really, independents now say that most of them, they're doing, and we're getting a movement in the country that people can feel. And it's like, what I'm saying is, they're going to vote for deficit spending because you have politicians uneasy. They're all thinking they may not get elected back, right? So they're like, what do I do? Well, we need the money. That if I just said I'm going to make a library and I don't make the library, what then? But where's the money to come? That library costs $5 million and we don't have it. We're in debt. I got to vote for deficit spending if I'm Mr. Politician or Mrs. Politician. So look, active addresses continuing to grow. See this? Just on a continual uptrend. Number of sending addresses continuing to grow. Number of receiving addresses continuing to grow. Yes, it has spiked, but it's on an insane uptrend. All right. Proof of reserves. They have some cool that. Percent of the last active plus years ago. I mean, like no one moves their Bitcoin, man. You know what I mean? No one. You have a pi cycle top indicator. Used to use the pi cycle top all the time, right? Whenever that blue line and red line crossed, that was your top. I made a video about how to find the top for Bitcoin. And whenever they get really far apart, that's when it's the bottom. You know what I mean? I want to get out of that custom. I guess I did custom accidentally. I still don't know how to use GLASSNODE 100%. That's the one thing that we want to start doing on the channel and like getting deep. So I'm going to watch a bunch of GLASSNODE videos and deep dive it. And then we also have a team member that I want to put on GLASSNODE. The problem is I opened up this GLASSNODE account, right? And when I opened it up with my Google account. You know how that works? And so now it's, you know, it's like I can't give access to everybody, right? So upgrade to the advanced plan. Damn, I was already spending $300 a year. I guess we'll have to go hard. But Bitcoin's continuing to grow. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to continue to print Bitcoin. And there's going to be less and less of it. So just be careful. If you're into the fear narrative and you're starting to, you know, and again, I can't tell you what to do with your money. But me, I'm not into that fear narrative. I'm not listening to these people telling me, you know, Bitcoin is trash and cryptocurrency. I can see where the future's going. I've speculated before in my life, and I've been right. I will speculate again and continue to do so. I've been doing it since Bitcoin was around $300 and I first learned about it. And I've been speculating with cryptocurrency ever since, you know, Ethereum at $9 and the like. So, yeah. So hidden bullish on the 8 hours, interesting to me. And that strong bullish, you know, as long as we don't break this high, we could be all right until next false move Monday, you know. That's a head and shoulder slanted pattern, though. 15-minute wants to give you a bit of a bounce on the stochastics, but they've been lackluster. And now you have a resistance, a new resistance for Bitcoin. You know what's interesting? You could almost say this was the cup and handle. I didn't see it till now. And, you know, we broke out. I mean, the inverted cup and handle right there. A slight div here. But you got a head and shoulder pattern, like, on the div. Like, you know, it's like... That's a head and shoulder, to me, that has a slanted neckline like so. That could break you down like this. See that? I don't know what that line's all about. So that's just, you know, shoulder, head, shoulder to the downside. Top, bottom, top. You're likely coming down to the bottom of the channel, right? So you take out this low, you're dumping down to here. The second you take out this low, you're coming down to 26,280. Very, very likely. All right. And look, below the 200 SMA and the 7, you're done, man. With the 200 pushing, the 21 pushing down, very bearish. You just use the 200 as support, right? Like usually when these get tight, right? Look, that's tight. And then that's an ascending triangle to the upside. So look, now we just identified a possible descending triangle, right? I see Bear City, man, taking out that low, and then it matches this exact line. And so here's the deal. I feel no reason to long. Unless I see a burst up here and a retest of 26.9, you know, then could be some movement. All right. Until we break that level, I just see no reason to long. I would remain short because you have a low, you keep making lower highs. Just like yesterday, we said the similar thing, or the night before the big drop. We kept saying the same thing. We said price looked similar to this in a way, just on a bigger scale. And I said, you know, if you can't get above this previous high, then expect more downside. Period. You know? So I remain bearish today and expect to move further down for Bitcoin to break this high at that 786 level that we made, because we're cascading down. All right. The only thing that could save our bot is that insane shoulder, head, kind of right shoulder idea here. We get to move on out. And that's why you don't even, you know, boom. I wouldn't long until I see us get above 26.9, 930 area. I just don't see it. Okay? I don't see it. And that's what I'm sticking to for Bitcoin. So I would remain short unless we can get back above 26,000. I'll call it 930. I'm going to call it 930, all right? 26,930. We get above that level. All right, you know. The hidden bullish on the 8-hour does give me a little glimmer of hope that we could get a move and a reversal back to the upside. But after what I'm looking at today with the weekly, and remember, we'll watch this 3-day. The 3-day is going to be our guide, because the second the 3-day loses the 200 SMA, we close a 3-day candle below the 200. That's going to be a very bearish sign for us. Okay? And we're going to have to heed that. We're going to have to heed that. If we stay above it and we continue, there's a chance. Listen, everyone, I know it, don't get down on yourself. You know, there's a chance, look, we do this and I don't know what's going to happen. And Bitcoin could be up at 40K in a few months, you know? Whatever happens, understand that there's a halving coming. We're going to pay attention to that halving. We're going to stay in the moment, all right? And we're going to push through no matter what. I'm going to continue to keep myself positive. I'm going to continue to keep myself cash heavy when I need to be. I'm not going to overindulge in the bull. Like when everyone's like bullish, I'm not going to be buying into green candles. I'm always going to reserve and start to stack capital, okay? And I'm going to wait for days like these. I'm going to wait for red days. I'm going to wait for dumps. This 3-day looks like it's going to take a pretty harsh dump on us. Look at the RSI. Look at the stochastics. It's a good known chart. It hit a resistance. It lost a support right there, right? And it's coming for its 200 SMA. And it's in a rising wedge that broke to the downside as well, like if you just take this out. So, you know, because I look at the 3 days so much, I feel like I had a little bit of an edge. And this, you know, that rejection was horrible. The weekly was supposed to stay above 28,880. It did not. We lost that key area. Okay. And again, I'm open-minded that the 8-hour could give us the hidden bullish and we could get the bump. Anything could happen, but I got to trade probability. So the probability is we're going to drop further down to 26,000. Okay. BOOKMAP says no. BOOKMAP says we go to 27.2 and says no way, we're going to get up there. But, you know, you never know. There's still, look, all this liquidity all the way down to 26K. We could pump up the 27.2 one more time, and then that could be the massive drop too. So BOOKMAP has been known to kind of give us the story a little bit. Where is 27.2? Just to kind of on the map, it's like right here. Right about here. Yeah, 27,184. With these two candles, this is like that resistance zone. Look, you're also below the 200 SMA on the 8 hours, so we could scratch that hidden bullish because it's like, you know, remember, the second you get below a 200 SMA, you can open up a short. So you can get in right now, put a stop loss on the other side of the 200. Doing that on the 8-hour. And so if you ever freaked out about something, take a deep breath and say, well, what if I did that on the 8-hour here? Wow. My stop would be somewhere here, and I would have ended up making money on the short unless I waited all the way for this to pop back up, you know. Here, I would have made massive money. The 8-hour closed 1, 2, 3 candles there, had a chance to open, and then bang, that thing dropped. And the 8-hour is low where it is now on the stochastics. And the MACD looked very similar. RSI was in a very similar place, about to hit the dotted line. This looks like a massive drop is about to occur on the 8-hour. So now, like, I'm going against what I looked at before, but, you know, I see a massive drop happening. And if it doesn't, it's a high probability play. Right there, it played out really nicely. Right there, it played out, decent. Right there, it played out really nicely too. You waited for like 2 8-hour candles to close. You opened up a short with a stop loss on the other side. Massive dump. And right there, it played out too. It's like 5 for 5. Right there, it did really well. Although that candle moved so fast, it may have been hard to catch the long, the short. This one made a bear flag into it, which was like telling you what to do. That was coincidental. Take the move. I mean, beautiful. And so this thing is like, look, it's like 8 for 8. Every time we lose the 200 SMA on the 8-hour, it's not a good look for any asset in the world. Drop. That was a little mini drop, but came back up. Look at all these nasty drops. Have I taught you something today? Here's one. Okay, we can get a fake out, but you still are in the money if you manage risk. That was beautiful. Again, the only issue I'll give you with this is, okay, you might sell here and then it keeps going and or you might want to stay in and it rips up and you only get a little. Like, it doesn't. You never know. You got to be able to manage the trade, right? It's perfect until you look back on it. Like, well, but over time, just letting it fly, boom, right? Specifically when you begin a downtrend. This is the beginning of a downtrend. I'm sorry, everybody. We had a low, we had a high, we had a higher low, we had a higher high. We kind of had a, I guess we you could say we have an easy, we had an even, slight higher high, but that's a lower high now. That's how the trend changes. You get the first lower high and then you get the lower low. Just like in a downtrend that changes here, you get your first higher high, higher low, and then you get your higher high. Say that isn't a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder that could break all the way back up to 20,000. Flip things upside down if you don't want to believe them. You know what I mean? If you can't handle the truth, flip it upside down. The truth will be presented to you, and you will see it exactly the way you that helps me. Everyone was a bias trader when you start, because as a trader, you're biased. You think the markets are already told that they're not for you, so you already feel weird about entering the markets. They're not for you. Your dad didn't go to Goldman Sachs. You're not an investment fund manager. Who are you? You don't work for Fidelity. They give you this feeling like you don't have the right to get down, right? And so there's already that bias there, and then the market's against you, right? So just mind, I'm seeing some Bear City moves. So until we get back above 26.9, I would not touch a long. I said that, remember, before we dumped hard up here. And I kept saying, we drew this descending triangle, if you remember correctly. And I said, until we get back above, 26,571, right? That's what I kept saying. I said, if we can't get back above 26,575, I said I would not open up a long. I said, the only way I'd open up a long, we get above here and we retest 25.75 and we get to move up. I said, otherwise I would remain short, right? And then boom, it came down hard. I did say that numerous times. You can go back to the tape and watch it over and over. The night before, I kept saying, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know where price action is going to go. I said, these tend to dump. The only reason that that it felt like it wouldn't is because we had this bullish divergence. I'll be honest, this bullish divergence faked me out a little bit. It was so strong on the 4-hour, and they had been playing out pretty nicely each way. But, I'll be honest, for the rest of my life, I'm never going against the descending triangle. It is the most profitable pattern I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm being honest. I've watched all the patterns over and over again. The descending triangle makes bank fast. It hits its target, it dumps. Like 99% of the time. I mean, you guys can quote me on it, but I feel like it's such an accurate, look, this was very similar. This was almost the exact same thing. Dude, this is creepy. Look. There's the Adam and Eve double top. And there was the descending triangle that's part of the right side. I mean, that is, and then you get a bearish divergence there too. Swing up while the RSI swung down. I mean, identifying these ideas. Look, the 21 is far away from the 200. All these moving averages are curving down. If you looked at this to the upside, that would be a beautiful move. Things are starting to pump. You just got the golden cross, So literally, usually price action will pull all the moving averages down into them. So like, see how these are moving down? They'll pull the 200 down. And eventually, so you'll get a dump and then they'll come up and then they'll pull the 200 into them, right? And this is where you get some type of something. Look, then you got a shoulder, the head, and a right shoulder there too. See that? I just want to keep you a step ahead of the market if I can by projecting insanely, futuristically ridiculous ideas. But honestly, they're not that far-fetched, are they? Once you start to sit with me and realize what's going on. All right. Do you feel more prepared now than you did when you started the stream? I want to know, did I provide value or was it too much back and forth? How do you feel? Let me know. Do you feel better about the market? Do you feel so much better more about your planning of the market now or after, before the stream, right? Let's take a look at ARC, EGLD, OXO, TRB, render, and apt, and break it down for you here on the live. CRU analysis, crypto broker Genesis halts withdrawals. Really? Is that true? I'm getting an old, this is why I got to go to Google. Brave, I love you. Or pre-search maybe. He said DuckDuckGo is better, but I can't find any news on that. Yeah, that was a while back, man. You know what I mean? I think I don't know. We'll get back into that another time. Yeah, so we broke down why I'm more bearish than bullish, right? You can see it. And look what happened here, too. Look at the one. Did the 200 get in? Yeah, see how the 200's pressing down now? See, because I know what usually works when we hit it, now I know it's even worse than we don't hit it. That's a mess. That's a complete mess. And I'm sticking with this. This is going to be I'm sticking with the Binance USD chart. That's the one I'm going to stick to for the next few days. I see a dump to the downside, everyone. I see this as a descending triangle about to tank on us. I see a move all the way down to 26,068, all right, as a place to take some profit. And I believe the dump is beginning, all right? And the daily, it's the daily that's going to continue to dump us. Remember that. The daily's pressing us. When the daily presses us, it doesn't matter. And the 8-hour looks horrible below the 200 SMA. Remember, we just showed you that it's likely to continue this dump. And my target is 26,031. All right. So I'm bearish for Bitcoin. I see it now. It is what it is. And I have a target for it on the day. And I wouldn't long. If we reverse, fine. That's great. Anything could happen. I would not long until we get above 26,930 and do some type of retest or break above it. Period. I see this 200 bending down and getting worse, and then eventually we'll lose the 200 in the 3-day, and that will be confirmation that we will continue to the downside. Look, Bitcoin just lost 50 points. It went from 650 to 610, and the drop is occurring to the downside now. And when this drop happens, it'll drop fast. It'll drop so fast, and it'll liquidate so many longs in a very, very fast moment in time. Okay? We can look at our liquidation levels and see if they're waiting for us at the lifer liquidator level. It works really nice on the 15. We'll double click here. We're about to see everybody on, not everyone, but most of the books, who's on the books here. And look, if we take out this low, that'll be a wrap too. So look, this shows us the 100, the 50, and the 25x people in the market, right? The yellow here is the 100x shorts, the longs, 50x longs, and the 25x. These are the longs. And the yellow, bright yellow, the gray, and the blue are the shorts. And you can see we have a consolidated form of longs right here. There's just no, they can go up here, but it's stretched out. Look at this. It's like if you were chubby, if you loved hamburgers and you loved eating hamburgers and there was 10 hamburgers right next to you, you would eat all 10 hamburgers right next to you, right? We just got news here. FT reports Genesis halt withdrawals. Genesis has reportedly halted withdrawals for its customers, according to a report by Financial Times. The move is due to unprecedented market conditions in the high volatility cryptocurrency market. Genesis, which allows customers to trade various cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, has not yet provided a timeline for when withdrawals will resume. The news has sparked concern about some cryptocurrency traders who fear that other platforms may follow suit. That's shady. And that also is going to cause some problems. That's going to, send Bitcoin into a tailspin. People want, oh my God. People are going to, or you know what that does is people sell out of altcoins into Bitcoin and then transfer Bitcoin off the exchange, right? But it looked like we're headed for some lower lows here for Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin just collapsing. And when we didn't get my 200, and I told you the 200 bends, when the 200 bends into price, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, okay? It's a tough day to be in small time frames, though. I'll be honest with you. Possible. The only thing I'm seeing here, look at that 5 minute. This is MEXC now, right? Only thing that could save you here is if you have Adam and Eve, maybe, right? I'd wait for that to happen. Then you would get this. Then we could trade the Adam and Eve. We would get above that resistance, right? I personally like anything above 29,930 here. I mean, anything below. Like, we don't, that has to breach. I'm open-minded. Anything is possible, right? So I watch smaller time frames for confirmation, but I see bearishness for Bitcoin. Look at all that awesome volume down there to eat. It tells me they could just eat it up. BOOKMAP has it too. That guy at 27.2 just hanging by a thread. That's major sell pressure too if we even get up to that level, 1,000 Bitcoins. Right? At 27,200, right here, we got 1,000 Bitcoins attempting to be sold right here. Right at this little niche. All right. So if you're just jumping on in, I see a falling wedge for Bitcoin. First off, we see the daily and a giant rising wedge. They break down 68% of the time. Okay. Then if we move forward into the 4 hour, we see this is a descending triangle that broke to the downside. There was an Adam and Eve involved there. Okay. And then we see this is the falling wedge that we're continuing in this falling channel. And if we lose a key level on this channel, we're going to drop further down to about 26,880 for Bitcoin. We did have a beautiful 786 retracement, but there's a chance that we take out that low and continue to the downside. I see the 1 hour bearishly pushing to the downside inside of, kind of like what looks to me like a descending triangle on like the 15. You're getting oversold with some bearish div though. So you got this little falling wedge. So that's why I'm like, cool, whatever happens is cool. You could be making a inverted cup and handle, get rejected by this level and dump. Also would be a double top M pattern and dump. So if you get a bounce up, cool. You got to break above this, get higher than it, come back down, retest it for me to even believe in longing Bitcoin. I'm not going to touch it on a long until it breaks 26,930 unless I'm just going to do some quick scalp, All right. Let me jump into Bitcoin's just been weird today, and whenever it's low and moving immediately, it's hard. I'm going to get into the altcoins right now. And this is why I always go over. I don't mean to ever go over. Okay, super chats, ARC, EGLD, OXO. Could you check BNB? Slanted inverted head and shoulder about to break up. We looked at that. Yeah, like this. Possible. They got a lot of people in fear. So you got liquidity. And there is that whale at 27.2 that just want, it tells me not, you don't want to be shorting when you got a whale right above you with so much liquidity. We got a whale right below us with so much liquidity, even closer too. So we did kind of touch into liquidity there. We've bounced so far off that 600. 26.6 did hold. I don't like hamburgers. Them takeover ruins a moral appetite. Oh my God, I have dentist today, so I can't even all right, I just forgot I had the dentist, man. All right. Let me duplicate. I got to get through these super chats super fast now. You guys are going to watch me in hyper mode. Let's take a look at ARC. My dentist always makes me wait anyway, right? It's like he should wait. She's like, yo, you know who I am? I'm the lifer, bro. You can't make me wait. That's why whenever I go to the doctor and they make me wait, I'm like, dude, you're making the lifer wait, man. No, I don't say anything. But in my mind, I'm like, do they know who they're making wait? It's funny, right? I wonder how celebrities feel when they do stuff like that. Like, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not saying that. I just, like, what if Derek Jeter goes in? But that's the thing. They have private doctors come to their house. Like, they never wait, those people, right? They get it all exactly the way they want. Like, you know. Let's take a look here at ARK. All right. Oh, I was going to say the 10 things my dad always said. I was going to write them down and talk about them. He made me laugh today. I was thinking about things that my dad said that were funny, you know. He said, I never joined a club that would have me. I thought that was funny. You know what I mean? Because that would be questionable. Because I would question their sanity. So he said, I never joined a club that would have me because I would question their sanity. Yeah, I thought that was funny. You know. Sorry, a little loud on the drums there. ARK Invest looks interesting. Moving average is a little far apart there on the daily, pointing down. It might have to come, you know, it looks like it could come back down here, possibly to the 618 fib level. See how you got a curve on the 21? Usually you want your moving averages a little closer and tighter together. 3-day needs probably to come down a little bit too. 4-hour has some momentum. It just breached the 200 SMA, which is a good sign, but it seems to be struggling with the top of the trend line there, right? Almost feel like that was a dip off and a break back inside. Some, you know, coins with really small market caps can sometimes disrespect the channel because, you know, there's not a lot of money, so anything can kind of make it do wacky stuff, right? Moving averages are getting close and tight. That's a good chance that the 4-hour gets even like somewhat of a scalp up. But I see this coming back down, and you want to really pay attention to the 786 and the golden pocket, right, for ARK. If it does get a breakout, it's going to 94. That's where the measured move could take you. Let's take a look at EGLD on the game here. Shout out to all the people here. $23 in chat revenue, 594 people on the live, 370 likes. Thank you so much for jumping on in. EGLD. Okay. Now, this is a long-term hold for me. This is something that I do hold some of this. I have it on the Meyer app just, you know, sitting there. EGLD was $525 a coin. They had hollow coin. It got pumped up out of control. It created a frenzy. Everyone was buying it. It created a massive pump. And EGLD is a cool coin. You can use it on a smaller computer, like on a computer that's not as... it basically, the blockchain can run on less advanced technology, right? So the idea is that it can go pretty... I don't know, it can do numbers, right? Is that you? I feel you. I feel your eyes digging through my shirt.
I was actually just dancing in the background.
Have a sip? Oh no, I don't want to have coffee breath at the dentist. Probably better than anything else. Yeah. JD, man, I just said I had to leave and you gave me a super chat, bro. We're going to have to postpone that, man. I love you, JD, but I just said I have a dentist appointment and I'm going to try to get through the super chats as fast as possible. Shout out to D Shuffle. Thank you for jumping on in. Let's take a look at so EGLD is something I would just long-term accumulate, man. You know, and it could go lower. It could dump all the way down to 6. You never know. I mean, it doesn't have a lot holding it. Not many people care about it. Bitcoin tanks, everything else will tank. Just remind yourself of that too. It's got a bit of a descending triangle. This is something that if I believed in and I really liked it, I would just dollar cost average into. I don't see a monster move coming anytime soon. I don't see an awesome swing trade, and I don't see it getting a tweet or some people talking about it. There's not a lot of news. You know what I mean? It's just kind of is what it is right now. So I'm not trading this. But again, maybe it gets a huge pump on the 1 hour off this falling wedge to the upside. Got a double bottom. I'm just, I don't know. I go for things that like look exciting. That's not exciting right now. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And I don't really have to mention Bitcoin again. I see it going to the downside, but you never know. And this is OXOAI. Remember we went over this a while back. $67 million market cap. Sitting on BitGet, LBank, and X Markets. OXO. All right. BitGet Spot. All right, so someone had asked us about it on the live. Looks like I put out a call on it, and we nailed it. OXO to the upside. Target hit for 65% gains. Bang. So, see, I just see ascending triangles. Moving average is getting tight. And I bet the 3-day looked pretty nice. Or it didn't, you couldn't put it on the 3-day. But the bigger time frame, some bigger time frame, 12-hour, 22. Yeah, look. I put an alert there. I don't know if I ever put it out to the trading group. I don't know when I did this. Someone might have asked me on this, a super chat, and I put it out. I do so much TA that I never know, you know. Yeah, I can't search it. It doesn't come up anywhere unless I called it OXO accidentally, which is possible. No, it looks like I never revealed this TA or it was done on the live stream. Wow, this thing banged though. Look at that thing. It banged for like hundreds of percent gains. It's actually still holding somewhat like an 80. Realistically, 126, still holding a 96% gain. And I don't know, does anyone remember when I put this out? Did anyone see me do this? Do you remember? Because some people ask about it and they probably remember. Does anyone remember when I drew this? I don't know. I had an alert on it that definitely got hit at one point. And then it told you, hey, that's another higher low, time to get in. And then stop loss below the point of control, this thing was gone. All coins can make you a good amount of money, man. They're just, and look, despite Bitcoin, like this thing is just, was ripping. And it went from 4 cents all the way up to like a wick to 16 cents almost. I mean, that's insane. So what about it now? I mean, we delete all our work and we look at it. And to me, I mean, you're getting overbought, right? You ripped up. The moving average just got pulled apart. So this is where I look at Fibonacci. And I don't know if I would use that wick. That's a little much. To me, that's a liquidity grab. Chance you go to the 786 though. This is the controversy to me. Something I've never truly back tested. Do you omit the crazy wick or do you allow TA to kind of sit with a, you know? Usually I go wick to wick, but because it's such a weird, out of control wick, I feel like it will throw off the technical analysis if I let it in. This thing looks like it's making what's called, you know, a Samuel cup and handle to the upside, right? Starting to make this kind of ascending cup. Falling back down, and it doesn't have a lot of support. It moved up pretty fast. So you're looking at these areas. You're looking at like 6 cents, possibly back to 5 cents. And again, I could be wrong. There's a chance it makes it, you know, and it does something like this. So watch it. Keep both these shapes and see. But it's likely to come back to the 21. And then from there, we'll see. But I do see a pullback for this. And then, wow, but what a move. What a move it made. Let's take a look at TRB, USDT.P. I think we got a perpetual contract here on MEXC. And we were looking at it here. So look, last time I put it out was in this little flag here. Beautiful move for TRB to the upside, right? Look at that. Banged on them. Even with the moving averages far apart for TRB on the perpetual, right? I believe Stack McChange was on TRB this morning in the trading group, right? He's been putting out some stuff about TRB recently. He's been all over it, watching it closely. But I like TRB. It's been hot. You know, they've been talking about it a lot. We liked it. I put out a trade out on that rising wedge. Remember this one? When it was in this rising wedge, it banged. That was a beautiful move. Then it came down. Then it consolidated. I drew this consolidation. TRB banged on them to the upside. Look at that. Now it's getting some moving averages far apart. It's got some bearish divs starting to form here on the RSI, telling you that it's starting to kind of go, you know, said way, right? It needs to reset somewhat on this 12-hour time frame. Is it the play today? I mean, you got this trend line. You got this trend line. You're basically forming a bit of a symmetrical triangle yet again, like you did before. But the difference between it is the moving averages are getting further and further apart. These can go either way. All right. I'd pull a fib from this wick here, as that was, you know, and says we could get back to this POC at the 786 fib retracement. Remember, Bitcoin takes a tumble too. It'll take the market. 4 hour interesting, getting tighter in the zone. We could take this impulse too. I like this impulse. And locally, we hit the 786, came back down. We're now on the 618. 4 hour could make a move here. Bigger time frames are starting to go against you. Could TRB just kind of flip anyway regardless? There's a chance you're getting a low, lower volume Wednesday. You're getting tighter in the zone. I'm 8 minutes from the dentist. You guys, I'm pushing it. 12:30. I just got to leave here at like literally in 11 minutes. I got to walk out the door. That's crazy, right? But he has no real, it's not a big deal. You can park and then, not a big deal. Not a big deal for me over there. Just come on and park with the dentist. So, 15-minute wants to pump, man, on like a double bottom here. Yeah, that would be the pump up to the 200 SMA. Same idea, but you're just like, you got to break above 26,770. That's a resistance now. You got to flip 26,770. It's like I could maybe buy a retest of 26,770 and then I would sell like the resistance at 26.9. I'm weary of this market, so I'm like, To me, again, I wouldn't buy into a long until we retest this level. That's just a key. That's a very nasty area of resistance right now for Bitcoin. That makes it really easy for me to give my analysis, because it's like, that's it. That's it. I won't long until we get above there. The way the 200's coming down is sketch. I could roll this 15 right over, no matter how good this looks. Oh, it's going to be a falling wedge, And I see it as that shoulder head, right shoulder, but we're stretching it too, aren't we, Edgar? It's not a beautiful pattern, to say the least. And I could even challenge someone to say, hey, well, don't you also see a shoulder, a head, and possible right shoulder here? And didn't you make a low, a lower high, a lower low, expect a lower high with a lower low? Aren't you in a small down? Didn't you just look, you in an uptrend? Didn't you just change trend right here on the smaller time frame? Right? POC right here. So I'm not long until I get above there. I would remain short until we get above this level. And I see that measured move coming down to 26,000, like 90, 26,070. All right. So let me get back to TRB. I know I moved it. So do we long TRB? The Bitcoin move will affect TRB no matter what. All right. The bigger time frames are more bearish than bullish. It's had a beautiful move. You got a bearish div right there on the daily, right in your face. Or you did come back and you retested previous resistance, became support. Getting some mixed signals on TRB. Let's see the 3-day. 3-day says you got to come back down to the 21, man. So like, this is where this is why you have to have some time frame that you just ultimately put all your faith in. And it's the 3-day for me. And so this is going to dump down to here. TRB is going to come down to 33. Mark my words. I said it here at first. I marked it. We got my, this is like, I've predicted this now on multiple coins and it's played out. We got bearish div. We got the RSI pushing down. We got the MACD curving, right? You had rising price with falling volume, which was so bearish, And you're not even below the dotted line yet on the RSI, on the stochastics. So there's a chance you get a pump on the smaller time frames. But I'm telling you right now, that 3-day chart, I would wait for the small time frames to pump, get overbought. When the 4 hour gets overbought, I'd look for a bearish retest or some type of bearish divergence, and then saddle myself into a nice short that will take like probably 2.5 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks straight for the 3-day chart to play out and get that dump. All right. So yeah, TRB, it doesn't look amazing to me. It looks amazing for a short, for good short money, which actually is amazing. So it does look amazing. There's good money coming out of that. 3-day chart really overbought here on render. Has to come back down to the 21-day moving average. Similar idea here. Hit a previous support as resistance. SR flip, bounce, couldn't get above it. Almost, you're about in 7 hours, this 3-day candle will close on render. Render looks bearish to me. All right. Could render start to make this parabola? There's a chance. But it could go sideways for a while first, and it could actually come back down lower. Let me take a look. 3-day charts, in my mind, at resistance for render. So you would have to flip this to be bullish. I'd have to flip 183, and then if we did that and retested it, wow, render could have some bigger gains. I mean, almost see it as a shoulder ahead and almost a right shoulder there. Daily's in a flag, and you got resistance here of the 200. So to me, I mean, you're going to come back down likely, at least to retest 159. So I see render pushing down, and the daily's pointing down too. What is Wakanda candle? I never heard of that in my life. APT and news. I may not be able to do, I guess I'm going to rush the news. App has token unlocks coming. I would stay away from app. No, I'm all right. I can leave here at 12:20, babe. It's 8 minutes away. I have 7 minutes. I've timed it all out in my mind. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate it. Just don't take the car. So look, the last time said Aptos was going to hit, I said I would not touch it. It's going to dump, right? I personally didn't say it because it was a good friend of mine, and I didn't want to be rude. You know what I mean? But they said they were going to buy the lows or something, and I was like, man, that thing is going to tank. And I put this bear flag out, and I said Aptos to 492. It hit 492, and it went even lower, all right? Why did I see it was going to go lower? Well, it lost the point of control. It was made a bear flag. It had a double top. There's a lot of reasons why. It was below the 200 SMA. You know what I mean? So now it's making a bearish div, and can it bounce? But the 1 hour's oversold. I'm telling you right now, this coin is getting completely unlocked, and people are going to continue to dump it. And every day people find more out about the unlocks. And a lot of VCs got into this early, and when people get in, they get in with the ability to sell at what it will do is they'll give them 1 million coins at, let's just say, $1. And they'll say, but you can only sell 20%, right? So whoever got these since January is just getting their coins, and they keep getting them. They keep getting them, and they keep getting them, and they keep getting them, and So it's VC, in my mind, it's whoever got in early is just dumping the crap out of this thing. Sorry, I don't like to swear, but I get a little angry because I'm like, it's not how crypto should go, And I guess that's why I got a little, so don't be surprised if this goes down even further, It's getting overbought on the 4 hour and not getting above, previous resistances. It has a little div there, but that div only gets you so much when you don't have a lot of volume and you don't have, this isn't buzzing on Twitter. Okay. Look, you double top right there too, which also told you it was time to get out. So I'm not bullish on Aptos at all right now. At all. If anything, I see it going lower because it has an unlock and it just doesn't have a lot going for it at the moment. All right. Oh, you're coming? I'm going to take the car someplace else. Oh, you didn't tell me that. Drop you off. Uh-huh. You've been out and about lately, huh? Wow. Okay. My name is Samuel James Price, and I have 4 minutes. Look at how OCD I am. Hi, my name is Samuel James Price, and every single day I give you the news, a 3 to 5 minute segment to break down what's happening in cryptocurrency. Is an exchange stopping withdrawals? Did somebody get hacked? What's going on? Did a layer 1 or layer 2 advance? Let's find out today on the Crypto Lifer News segment. Layer 1 project's Initia emerges from stealth with a pre-seed investment from Binance Labs. And I don't see Binance going anywhere in the long term. I really don't. The developers of Layer 1 Network, Initia, have come out of stealth mode. The team secured a pre-seed investment from Binance Labs, though it did not disclose the amount. A group of developers working on the Layer 1 Network, Initia, transitioned from stealth mode today, securing a pre-seed investment from Binance Labs, the venture capital and incubation arm of the crypto exchange Binance. You know what? I like when I hear about a Layer 1. I'm sick of Layer 2s. I really am. It's going to be a battle of the Layer 2s, and that's just what's going to happen. I want to see some Layer 1s. Initia will operate as a Layer 1 and host scalable application-specific Layer 2 developed using optimistic roll-up technology. The Layer 1 Initia will also facilitate cross-chain interactions between these roll-ups. We are thrilled to have Binance Labs as an early partner to accelerate the growth of Initia's high-performant hub. So now you know about a new coin you've never heard about. It's called Initia, all right? And Initia will leverage a computing framework named MoveVM based on the Move smart contracting language. The Move language isn't exclusive to Initia. Other Layer 1 chains, including Aptos and Sui, have adopted it. The project remains in development phase on a testnet. Initia developers say they have planned partnerships with other notable crypto projects. Might want to get on that testnet if you can, or find out, there's probably will get some airdrop from that. Just something to think about. Really cool, though. I'm excited to hear that. You should be, too. UK FCA working on blueprint for fund tokenization due this year. The UK Financial Regulator said earlier this year it was speaking to firms and trade groups in relation to proposals on fund tokenization. Yeah, they're going to have everything tokenized. BlackRock already got it done. It's going to continue to move over and over again. And Jim Cramer doesn't know Bitcoin. The TV talking head said Mr. Bitcoin is about to go down big on CNBC. I can go out with Bitcoin because I can't be in something where Mr. Bitcoin is about to go down big, said Jim Cramer live on national TV. An expert from the Node newsletter. I mean, there's some TA behind some of this. The first time I may actually somewhat agree with them, but you never know. Bitcoin's currently trading at 26 down from 28,000 5 days ago and is well off its 68,000 peak. But it's 68% up this year, and the first cryptocurrency is still dominating the market. It really is, right? It really is. And there's a chance we don't go down, everyone. I'm not 100%. There's a chance that hidden bullish does come out on that day, on that 8 hour. There's a chance we do recapture the 300. We don't lose the 200 SMA on the 3-day. But this guy always kind of says whatever he wants, man. And half the time he says something, it goes the absolute opposite in the market. There's actually like a back test indicator on him. It's weird that he has that much of a reputation because a lot of times he does say something and then they go down. He's like, I like this. He even said he liked an airplane stock. The next day, one of them fell out the sky. It was a coincidence, but still. And like, God bless those people that did. That's horrible. But the whole thing is, he has this weirdly, uncannily way of like being, saying what happens and the market completely going the opposite way. But Alameda lost nearly $200 million in phishing attacks. Ex-engineer says lax security practices seem to be a feature of the former crypto trading titan. You'd expect big-name traders to ensure high levels of security and steps in place to protect against phishing attacks and hacks. Dude, they were like having spider monkey, with all sorts of you-know-whats, doing all sorts of you-know-what. You know what I mean? They had no idea what was going on, man. Apparently, they were all doing each other, but not Alameda Research. The beleaguered Sam Bankman-Fried run company lost at least $200 million to a variety of common attack vectors that run amok in the industry, as per news claims. They probably just clicked on links. Next thing you know, they lost it. No one wanted to say anything. $200 million, man. These people were so insane they lost that much money. This meant virtually no code testing, incomplete balance accounting, safety checks for trading would only be added as a needed basis. Oh, my God. Blockchain private keys and exchange APIs were stored in plain text in a file that several employees could access, dude. Are you kidding me? Blockchain private keys and exchange API keys were stored on plain text. Dude, these decisions allowed us to move at breathtaking speed, developer velocity that would make any Silicon Valley software engineer shed tears of joy. However, the flip side of this trade-off was that we had a major security incident once every few months. Yeah. The point is scalability and security. You can't scale. He's like, oh, we were scaling way better than everybody else. Like, that's like saying the car was driving way better without the windshield on. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was going faster, but like you didn't have a windshield, my man. Anyway, that's the news, everybody. I hope you were excited to hear from me today. God bless each and every one of you for jumping on in, and I'm going to jump on out for the day. Can Bitcoin get that move back to the upside? We're watching to see if the 15-minute double bottom can make or break us. I'm not longing until we get above 26,930. That's a key area. If we can break it and bounce, it can show some sign of support for the market. However, if we continue to dwindle and you see us just kind of make what looks like to me, We could be making an inverted cup and handle where we make a channel up here, get rejected, double top, and then break further to the downside. I am more bearish than bullish unless we get back above this level. I see Bitcoin dropping to 26,000. That is my key level, and that's what I'm sticking to. Everyone, God bless you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow for another beautiful live stream. I'm out. I got to go to the dentist. Be safe.